On the morning of September 16, 1994, 62 children at a school in rural Zimbabwe walked back in from their morning break and told their teachers they had just watched a craft land in the scrubland behind the fence. Then they described what came out of it, separately, one by one, and they all described the same thing. The Ariel School sits in Ruwa, a small town about 20 kilometers from Harare. It was an ordinary Friday morning. 62 students between the ages of 6 and 12 were outside during the 10 o'clock break. Their teachers were inside. What the children say they saw next has never been explained. Not by the school, not by the Zimbabwean government, and not by the Harvard psychiatrist who spent months trying to understand it. By the end of this video, you'll have the full account. What the children described, how investigators from 3 different institutions responded, and why the evidence from this case remains genuinely difficult to dismiss. There's also one detail about what the entities allegedly communicated that almost nobody talks about. We'll get to it. Children at the far edge of the playground were the first to see it. They describe multiple silver objects appearing in the sky. Then one descending. It moved silently. It came down in the scrub beyond the school's boundary, roughly 100 meters from where the children stood. Some ran toward it. Others ran away. The children who stayed at the fence described figures near the craft. Small, child-sized, or slightly smaller, dressed in tight black suits. One child described the skin as waxy. Multiple children mentioned the same specific feature. Eyes that were far larger than human eyes and set lower on the face. The figures moved toward the fence. One entity reportedly came close enough that the children could see the face clearly. Long black hair, a thin frame, and those eyes described consistently as enormous, dark, elongated. Several children said the figure stared at them. A few children said that at that moment they felt something, not heard, but felt, like a thought that wasn't theirs. Panic spread across the playground. Children ran screaming back toward the school building. Some were crying. One child said she saw the figure bounce. An unusual locomotion, not quite a walk. By the time teachers came out to investigate, the craft and the entities were gone. What remained was 62 children all saying the same thing. 3 days after the incident, BBC Zimbabwe correspondent Tim Leach arrived at the school with a camera. He interviewed the children on film. He would later say he found them completely credible. Their accounts were specific, emotional, and consistent. He had no explanation. He filed the story. It ran. Cynthia Hind, the late investigator for MUFON Africa and the most respected UFO researcher on the continent, visited the school on September 20th. She conducted her own interviews and asked the children to draw what they'd seen. The drawings were produced independently. When she laid them out side by side, the consistency was striking. Disc shapes, small dark figures, oversized eyes. 2 months later, in November 1994, a Harvard University professor of psychiatry named Dr. John E. Mack flew to Zimbabwe. Mack was not a fringe figure. He had won the 1977 Pulitzer Prize for biography. He was a department head at Harvard Medical School. He came to Ariel School prepared to find a psychological explanation for what had happened. He didn't find one. Mack interviewed 62 children separately. No group sessions, no shared prompting. He concluded that the accounts were genuine. The children believed what they were saying, showed real emotional distress when recounting it, and produced descriptions that held together across interviews. He called it one of the most credible sightings he had ever investigated. Harvard took notice. In 1995, the dean of Harvard Medical School appointed a formal peer committee to review Mack's work. The first time in Harvard's history, a tenured professor had faced such a review. The committee's conclusion, released that August, Mack's academic freedom was reaffirmed. He had the right to investigate what he chose and to report what he found. Here's what didn't happen. The Zimbabwean government conducted no official investigation. No aviation authority examined radar data from that morning. No military personnel visited the site. The children were never formally interviewed by any public institution. The only people who took it seriously enough to show up were a BBC journalist, a private researcher, and a Harvard psychiatrist who risked his career to do it. This is the part almost no coverage stops on. Several of the children described something beyond the visual, a sensation of communication, not audible, felt. The message they describe is consistent: concern about the planet. One 11-year-old girl told Mack, "I think they want people to know that you're actually making harm on this world, and we mustn't get too technologed." Another child said he was told the world would end if people didn't change. In 1994, Zimbabwe. In 2022, filmmaker Randall Nickerson released Ariel Phenomenon, a documentary that tracked down the now-adult witnesses. They were in their 30s. Several had never spoken publicly about the incident. What's striking isn't that they maintained their accounts. It's that many described the experience as the defining event of their lives, one they'd spent decades trying to make sense of. 30 years on, none of them had changed their story. What happened at Ariel School on September 16, 1994, has never been officially investigated, never been explained, and never been recanted by a single one of the 62 children who reported it. John Mack, a man with everything to lose, looked at the evidence and said he could not find a conventional explanation. The drawings match, the accounts match, and the question he left open is still open. Was it mass hysteria, a shared delusion, something else entirely? 62 children, interviewed separately, described the same event. That's either the most elaborate shared fabrication in the history of childhood, or it isn't. What do you think actually happened? Drop your take in the comments below. And if you want more investigations like this, cases where the evidence refuses to cooperate with easy explanations, subscribe. We go deep on cases like this every week.